Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into this video. This is like the third take, and it was not for, misspeaking or trying to be really eloquent and all that stuff. It was just, I was just struggling to get this image, the opacity of the line drawing dark enough so that when I add my background, when I add the color to it, it wouldn't wash out. And so okay, so that's really dark. So what I'm gonna do, so this is my initial background. I'm gonna lighten this somewhat and my line work. Okay, there we go. So that's a very strong contrast. You know what, let me do something here with this. So this video is actually part 2. Part 3 will be the digital part of this. And again, this is just a sketch. This is not supposed to be like a finished project, because that would take much more time, and I just want to, get through it and at least, shed some light on, how you can color your line work both digitally and and traditionally. And a real quick tip, I would say if you are not able to work digitally as far as like coloring your work, to save your original line work, just photocopy that. Photocopy it and then just practice with your coloring medium, whatever that may be. If it's color pencils, if it's markers, if it's acrylic paint, whatever it may be, just make copies, so that way if you do make a mistake, and this is for those who are you know just starting, or are very new in pursuing, or even if it's just as for a hobby, art. So that way you don't feel like, oh man, I'm bummed out. I really enjoyed my original line work, and now it's all messed up because I colored incorrectly, and I can't change that. So this is to just give you that tip. So even if you're working traditionally, there's ways that you can work around not messing up your original piece. And then when you get really confident with your coloring, or even if trying to figure out, hey, what colors work best, you're not doing your trial runs on your original line work. So this is working much better. I'll have to do other videos on that, because again, coloring is not really my forte. I do it because I need to do it, and so and coloring digitally, like I said, there's so many pros to it that and then there's techniques as well to shorten that time, that production time. And so sometimes I still, and I don't know, it's probably silly that I would still want to do this. I still color traditionally, like I don't want to say techniques, but the manner in which I color, I still do it traditionally, although I'm working digitally. And and for an example like this, so sometimes I would still apply brush strokes. And working digitally, you could save on your brush strokes. Where I can just do these edges here, like this, and then once I have my layer, what happened here? This is lagging for some reason. I don't know. And this is QuickTime. This is not even OBS, but it's still lagging. I think it's the image that. Anyway, so you can do this and then do like a quick fill, and bam, it's filled. So that's just one of the benefits. Let me change my brush type. Maybe this will alleviate that. So, but sometimes I still want to go through and have my brush strokes, because I feel like I'm already at an advantage working digitally. Because if I make a mistake like that, I'm not like, oh, I need to get a whiteout and I need to, and depending on what medium you're using, it's like, I messed up. And digitally, you can just do that. Or you can just go undo and it's done, so, or you can just erase it. And those are the benefits of working digitally, particularly when you're coloring. And for me, I feel like it just saves. It's kind of economical in that sense of because I'm saving money on those pricey art supplies are pricey, man. People say it's a poor man's profession when you're starting out, but the supplies, man, the supplies are expensive, especially if you want to, if you want to get good quality supplies that will last the test of time. So I'm not going to talk through this whole thing, so that way I can I can speed the video up because this is actually taking much longer than I wanted to, but basically you can do your line work, and if you have a scanner, you can scan it in. If you have a coloring program like Adobe or something else, there's free programs as well that you can use. I've always started with Manga Studio when it was just Manga Studio, and now it's Clip Studio Paint. Because one of my focuses is comics, and that program was for comic artists. It was just designed for making comics, so in that sense, it was just like a no-brainer to go that way. I actually had a first introduction to Adobe when you were able to purchase Adobe without needing a subscription. I did some digital work with Adobe first, and but that's been more than like 15 years ago. So it's a long time ago. All right, so let's see. I think I may just be quiet and then just speed this up and then poke and then just shoot back in at some point. I don't know. You know what? Let me do this. Please like and subscribe to the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go to my Patreon as well. I appreciate that support there. Just will go a very long way in fulfilling my dream of doing this full time, and that'll just be greatly appreciated. And you can go to my YouTube, my Facebook page as well, Mitchell O'Lully. Facebook.com/Mitchell O'Lully or Mitchell O'Comics. You go to my website, which is MitchellO'Lully.com. And appreciate you taking the time to view the content. And again, if you are watching on YouTube, there's thoughts or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment. Okay, so I don't know if I'll come back and commentate, but this video is just to show you the digital part of coloring and giving some pointers of how you can go about doing that. And let's see if you don't hear back from me. Until next time, grace and peace. hopefully I'll get that editing just right. So I'm about to wrap up, and as you caught in the speed version of this, it was very loose with this. And so like I say, this is not like a finished thing. This is more of just getting a feel of what I want. Just messing around with different colors. And like I said, I'm not a colorist, and so I'm sure there's probably way better techniques of how to go about achieving this. But this is just something that I would attempt to do if I'm just trying to get a feel of the color scheme. Um, so yeah, so that's pretty much. Oh, I did not. So as you can see, I hit here shadows. I changed that to multiply, so that will darken. My goodness, that will darken the layer. Excuse me. And then highlights. I have that, and shadows, highlights. That's just my terminology. But for shading and lighting, shading, multiply, lighting, overlay, and if for me sometimes, I mean, I have a down pack now, but there were times when I would forget because, like I said, although working digitally, I still apply traditional practices. And I'll give you an example. So the benefit of working, digitally, I can go here, eyedrop tool, and I have that there. Now, here comes the traditional part. That's my shade color. Traditionally, I would actually start with a lighter hue, so that way I can apply shade because I'm building layers. So I will always start lighter and then go darker because it's much easier to do that than go full dark saturated hue and then try to lighten it. So I will always go lighter, and but working digitally, sometimes I would just lighten the hue, and then just apply it. And I'm like, okay, well that's too light. Let me see, slightly lighter. And so I would do this, and then for each color I would do the exact same thing. Now, I've learned, hey, you know what? That takes a lot of time, and I'm not working fully traditionally. Let me maximize the digital pros, and one of those are is one of those is the fact that I can choose highlights. Actually, I did that incorrectly because it was already in highlights. So I should have. Let me see, a different layer. Bam. And then, so this is what I would do. I would then come and lighten that layer and then do that. This is what I wanted to demonstrate. And then I would do that for each different color. Like, actually eyedrop it and then try to match up what would be the lighting effects, instead of just utilizing the digital tools of going here and choosing overlay. And then when I choose overlay, I could just eyedrop the tool, pick my brush up, and then bam. So it's now sometimes I still have to adjust the shade because sometimes the overlay is too sharp and it just looks unnatural. Other times it somewhat works. I like to just zoom out to make sure, okay, it's proper highlights. Yeah, so like, sometimes it works, and sometimes even like that, if I feel like, man, that's a little too bright, I'll go in and just increase the hue, and that way it's still a highlight, but it's subtle. I don't know if you can pick that up, you know. So it's not like that really strong bright reflection. And then if I want to make it brighter, I just decrease the hue, and then I'll have some sharper highlights. It'll be the same thing for this. If I do that, I drop the tool, then I'd see. So that's the highlight for that. And so it's for some colors overlay, the the overlay is just really sharp, and so you still have to, and that's where just good um, uh, traditional basic understanding of color theory works. You know what I mean? So that's why I always say, work traditionally, get a handle on that, and then let the digital tools make that work more efficient. So here I can come here and do this, and if I feel like that's too sharp in a sense, then I can easily go to my airbrush tool, and then now it's a softer highlight. It's still a highlight, but it's softer, which works well for human skin, flesh, surfaces like that. So it's not that hard highlight like this, which can work for different things that you may want to achieve. So yeah, so I think that's it. Like I said, it was just a sketch coloring. I will speed up well, this is post, so that section would have been sped up and this section is slowed down, and I don't want this section to overstay its welcome. And so like I said, I will hopefully do a traditional one of this, maybe a real quick like watercolor something, I guess. I'll try to be something artsy fartsy. But anyway, thanks again, guys, for taking the time to watch this video. Hope it provide some, just ignite some encouragement to get out there and do. If it's art, go ahead and do it. If it's something else, just the same. Until next time, grace and peace.